gummy bear.
It's the internet, you're busy. Let's do this for April 26, 2024. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, a shocking Nintendo game leaks early and gamers are mad about something again. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Tamoor Hussain, everybody. Tam, how are you doing?
Gamers are mad?
I know. It's newsworthy because it's such a rare incident. I figured we have to talk about it and see what there's supposed to be something in the water.
Of course, something clearly has gone catastrophically wrong if the gamers are mad. Gamers known for their very even temperament.
I'm expecting the UN to convene on this any minute now.
The UN's, I don't know if you know this, but UN's apparently quite useless, so I don't.
And it always has been. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I am ready for the weekend, Tam. I'm ready for a Dregs Day first, of course. I need my Dregs Day before I get to the weekend.
The dregs are here. I looked through this. Let me tell you, we're dragging. Actually, we're doing. There's a couple of there's some real dregs in here, but also there's some dregs that are catered towards me.
Yeah, I was going to say there are some dregs in here that I'm going to have fun talking with Tam about these. Like this is stuff that you and I can riff on and have a conversation about. So today it's a good Dregs Day.
It is.
I gotta okay. So I'm I have a bad procrastination, ADHD, all this stuff. I've had to take my driver's license test to actually get my real driver's license for quite some time. And
Jeff, I had to do that 2 years ago, and I still haven't done it.
My brethren, and the temp is about to expire, and I'm like, okay, oh shit, it's like May. I'm like, I know it expires in May. I gotta go. Let me schedule an appointment, and I schedule it, and the earliest day they have is May 16th. And my shit expires. I kid you not. And I'm so shocked that it's like this. May 15th is when it expires. So I'm going to
my God.
I'm probably going to have to go in there and get that renewed first. Hopefully, I don't think that's too bad of a process. It's 100% my fault, but boy, I'm just of course, that's how it went down.
Yeah. I went in there to get a real ID because I didn't want to take my passport when I did domestic travel. And I went through the hellish system at the DMV. And by the time someone processed me, they ended by walking me to a driving test. And I was like, what? I came in here for an ID card. Why am I suddenly taking a driving test? And they were like, well, you're taking a driving test now. And they were like, I was like, I have literally no idea how driving works in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, oh, you've got a week to take this test before you need to go through this entire process again. So I was like, you guys suck. I went home and I Twitch streamed myself learning how driving works in this country, and the chat was explaining all the dumb shit to me. And then 3 days later I went in and passed that test, and I was like, here's your damn test. And they were like, great, now you've got 6 months or whatever to actually take the real test before this becomes invalid. And I was like, I'll do that as well too. And then my procrastination kicked in.
Yep.
It's all right.
And that's okay, the real ID must also be, because that was an option on there. They had real ID, and then there's a state ID, and then a driver's license. And I'm like, what? Okay. I figured state ID is the one where you don't need at least in Ohio, you don't need the driver's test, but real ID, I'm like, that's
real ID is the big one. Where
it's the big boy driver's license / everything else. So okay.
Just put make it your ID card, so you can go to an airport and show that instead of your passport. And
right. Well, maybe I'll just go for that while I'm doing all this. You know what? Enough of my problems. Let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of your own original or our own original reporting, and maybe some of yours too, listeners. I don't know. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game S Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Helldivers 2 players are mad over new PSN Steam requirements. This is from John Walker at Kotaku. Among the myriad scourges that make playing games in 2024 so tiresome, the need for multiple different accounts to various services ranks high. Helldivers 2 players have just been told by Sony that come next week, they'll have to link their Steam accounts with the PlayStation Network account, something it's been working fine with in the 3 months since the game launched. This is inconvenient, but perhaps not the end of days. It was, says Sony in a statement on Steam, the result of technical issues that the PC version of the Helldivers 2 on Steam did not need to be linked to a PSN account in the first place. Or as the statement puts it, we allowed the linking requirements to be temporarily optional. That grace period, an odd phrase to use given players weren't responsible for the technical issues, is now coming to an end. And from May 6th, all new players will need to connect the two accounts. Current players have another month before they need to faff about, with a deadline on June 4th. Faff feels like a bad word for me to say. I don't like it.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, love to hear. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I got to pass everybody.
You got the Faff pass.
The Faff pass. A PSN account is free, and Sony's given reasons for requiring the changes to improve players' experience and something about like player safety. That was like one of the tweets, allowing them to more easily ban griefers and those behaving abusively. I suppose that's what they're going for here. Tam, I am mostly over this. Of course, it's annoying to have to sign into an external account when trying to play a game on Steam. Of course it is, but I'm like looking at it through the lens of these companies tried to do their whole separate stores, and many of them came back to Steam, and the sort of compromise was, well, we'll come back to Steam, but you have to sign into our stuff. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And so I've like accepted that this, free but annoying process is one of the prices I have to pay to make sure all my games are on Steam. Something I care a little bit about, not a ton about, but I do like having everything in one place. And here we are having to do it again. I can't get my hackles up too much. How about you? Uh-oh.
Oh, whoa, what happened there?
I don't know. You left and came back. I don't know.
Discord's doing it again. Is having its day again. I don't know where you ended there, but I will just go into saying, it is. I feel like it's one of those annoying hurdles that was put into place because everyone's trying to do their own thing, like you mentioned. I don't think it's the end of the world at all. And if they're being genuine and saying this is for security reasons or to make it easier to get rid of people who are cheating or griefing or banning or whatever it may be, then that's understandable. I feel like if you create a pipeline into crossplay with PC, you generally need to take seriously the idea that people can hack, mod, and mess with those games pretty easily, and they are more inclined to on PC. And if this is the safeguard they have in place for it, it sucks. But yeah, obviously, like it makes sense as well. And from the other side, like from a gamer's perspective, like it takes 1 minute, man. Like just relax. Like what you get? Either you like this game enough to do it, or you don't like the game and you don't do it, and you stop playing the game. It's like not that difficult at all. Yeah, it is. It is what it is. Like they're not going to just suddenly be like, oh, anyways, like we decided we're not going to do it. It's fine.
No.
So you might as well like make your decision now. The exception is if it turns out they're doing this for like data collection, which I imagine some element of it is, some significant element of that is true. Like they want your sweet user data. But at the same time, like they're not going to come out and be like, we want your data. We need your data. Yeah.
I mean, but that's like the kind of thing where that's also the price we pay, right? Like it's these companies they all do this, and it's like, okay, we'll come back to Steam, but we still need that data. It's all right, whatever. And you're allowed to make the decision if that's something you don't want to put up with. You don't get the game. I still think people could shout about it, but this is a battle long lost at this point. They are going to have a sign into the stuff, and that you're gonna have to take it or leave it. And at this point, I'm like, whatever. I don't honestly care all that much about my data. Go do whatever you're going to do with it. It's being used against me in every other way. Why not you as well? And that's pessimistic and cynical. I get that. If other people aren't that way, that's fine. I think though it's the kind of thing where I see why people are kind of like a little bit more up in arms about this, because it's not happening so much later. But they have said from the beginning that this was going to happen, and I guess that doesn't make it easier to take. Obviously, a lot of people are still frustrated by it. But hey, these companies want the data. I think there's something to be said for a lot of people are spending money in Helldivers 2, and so they have a credit card attached, and making sure that credit card is also attached to PSN is a benefit to them. It's not like everyone has to have that, but every credit card you add to your database of saved credit cards as one of these companies is beneficial. It's one of those things that gave the App Store on iOS such a head start, is when they got that thing launched, so many people already had their cards attached to their account because of iTunes. And it's like that just carried forward, and they had so much momentum that's like just one button to buy something, and that's very beneficial. So all of those factors play into this. And people, if people want to shout about it, they can. I don't think this is one you're going to be able to undo by shouting about it, as you mentioned. This is going to happen, and they're going to keep doing this. I hope maybe we get something out of it, like cross platform saves. I don't think the game has that. If they could promise something like that, then it's like, okay, there's a little bit of a bargain here. Right now, though, it just feels like we're doing this. Take it. We told you we were going to do it, and that's weird.
Yeah. That element of it is like, it's hard to not. I'm not that I'm defending any of it, but like, it's just like, it is also, people are a little more savvy than these companies realize these days, and they know that a lot of the complaints around this, rightly so, is because most people are acutely aware of the fact that they're being mined for their data. Yes. And they are the product or whatever these days. So yeah, awareness around it is good. Like, I feel like the vigilance around it is good.
Yes, of course.
So like, make sure it's hard if you want to carry on playing Helldivers. You kind of have to do this now if you're like connecting to Steam or whatever it may be. But if you like, that's not to say like your cynicism around it is unwarranted completely. You should definitely like keep an eye on it and make sure that nothing weird is going on. Yeah, they're selling everyone's data nonstop all the time, man.
Yeah, and like
so
yeah. I was just gonna say, and like someone chat's like, should we worry about our kids' data? I mean, I would be, but that is illegal. You are not allowed to keep data on children. That is already against the law. That's COPPA and a couple other things. COPA, I'm not sure how to say that, the acronym there. But that stuff is already regulated. And, that's when you say if you're under 13, there's all like a very different version, a lot of these websites. And that's why when you upload to YouTube, if you specify a video is made for children, it goes into a whole other bucket where they're like, we are not going to serve up targeted ads to anyone watching this video because we don't ever want to be accused of violating these very, very hefty regulations. So a lot of that stuff, it feels like solved issues at this point. But hey, if you're like, well, I also don't want my data to be tracked and used against me. I get that. Yeah. I wonder if I would find it very hilarious if they released a kids version of Helldivers 2. Right, exactly.
That would be so funny. I would love that. If they did that, I would be like, fair play, you deserve that. Well, you know how you go into YouTube and it's everything's like rounded corners and everything's shiny and colorful. Imagine that, but it's like Helldivers for kids.
Just the exact same game, but like slightly different like color schemes on characters and cell
and
shading,
everyone's got
Nerf
like that. Guns and like that kind of thing. It's just, that would be so funny.
Helldivers is very good, Googly. I like that a lot.
Helldivers is, yes. Someone mock up Helldivers.
Helldivers, the version for kids' data.
Helldivers, kids' data collection game.
So this kicks off next week. People will have to sign up then. I hope it is like other services on Steam, at least how they've been recently, where once this option pops up or once this like requirement pops up, it's like, well, if you already have a PlayStation Network connected thing with Steam, we'll just use that, and it is one button, and it just works, and you don't have to think about it. Sometimes they have to have you like log into the website and agree to new terms of services, and even that's like very annoying to me. But if it's just like one button and it works, and I never have to think about it again, I probably won't ever think about it again, and I'm fine with that. All right, the ESRB rating has come in for a new Nintendo game called Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, and it has appeared out of nowhere. This is from Jason Finelli at GameSpot. Nintendo's release schedule for the remainder of 2024 is a major unknown. Other than remakes of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door on May 23rd and Luigi's Mansion 2 on June 27th, there are no first-party titles.
And Metroid Prime, right, Jeff?
Metroid Prime
yeah, soon? Metroid Prime soon, Jeff?
Wish, please. Oh, man, it's not happening. Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 as well, of course. A new ESRB rating might hint at an upcoming reveal as a listing for Nintendo World Championships, NES Edition, has appeared on the ratings board's website. The ESRB listing calls Nintendo World Championships NES Edition a collection of 2D challenges and platformer games in which players traverse through various modes, speedrun and survival. These modes will incorporate various challenges, including reaching certain areas or battling groups of enemies, among others. According to the ESRB description, some speculated that the tease could have been an imminent return for the in-person event after known leaker Pyoro posted an image of the Nintendo World Championships 1990 NES cartridge on Twitter, but that does not seem to be the case. This also is like not just like a port of that ROM. Tam, this is like a full-on new game, apparently. I guess we don't have full details or confirmation of that, but it seems like that's what's happening here. Is this is going to be them maybe taking like the NES remix idea and taking NES games and building a new shell around that involves the Nintendo World Championships. And I think that's a pretty cool idea. I'm kind of hopeful that this is a neat thing. What do you think?
Firstly, people are wild if they think Nintendo's going to do a live event in this fashion ever again like that. It's not happening.
They do it when they're like marketing a game. Like that felt like when they did Nintendo World Championships
or whatever.
Yeah, right. That came out of the marketing budget for that game when they were trying to sell it. They're not just going to do it randomly in the middle of nowhere.
No, I feel like this could be an opportunity to take the learnings that they've had from doing like Tetris 99 and all these other F-Zero 99, all these are kind of weird, quirky games that, or spins on games that people are very, very familiar with, and putting them under the banner of like, hey, this is a party game where you can play competitively a bunch of other smaller games, and then play them online with, 98 other people, or you can play it with your local friends, that kind of stuff. I feel like you're right in that it's probably not a direct port. It's some sort of remake or like reimagining of what that could be under the Nintendo World Championship kind of banner. I imagine if they like chucked in a bunch more 99 versions that we just had not heard of up until this point. That could be cool.
Yeah, honestly, you might be onto something there with like the 99 thing, because I think maybe what's happened here is they tested out a bunch of different 99 ideas, and they're like, well, none of these can support their own 99, but what if we took what we learned from all of that and put it into one package that includes a bunch of these games and has various modes and different ways of interacting with them? I think there could be something there, and I would be very hopeful about that. I'm someone who enjoyed NES Remix to a point. I thought that the presentation, like the way that you actually get into these little snippets of games, or people don't remember, NES Remix were these games for the Wii U and the 3DS, that were basically like, hey, remember all those nostalgic games for the NES that you really liked? Well, we're going to put them all in one collection, and we're going to give you the highlights of each game, and you just go from one to the other, and it's such a cool experience. And it was, except for bouncing between these like small snippets of gameplay was kind of sluggish, and the pacing of that act was it kind of ruined the overall experience. And what I hope from this is, okay, so they have a speed run challenge mode. Just hit me with like 4 or 5 challenges back to back in like a TikTok style feed where I do it. Once it's done, the next one immediately scrolls up. It's right in front of me. Go. Next one scrolls up. Go. Like that presentation could completely reinvent and rejuvenate this idea, and I'd be very down.
That is WarioWare.
I mean, yes, exactly. Right. Do WarioWare, but it's like you're actually playing those games. I mean, yeah, exactly. For real. Yes.
That's a WarioWare 99 could be a thing that happens, which would be 99 other people trying to pick their nose or whatever. That would be so funny.
WarioWare 99 I really want that very bad.
It would be really funny because everyone in the 99 should have a different game. So it makes no sense. It's just pure chaos.
You just try to look at it. Like, what? Maybe like if you stand far enough back, it's like a mosaic, and it's just Wario's face.
Yeah, Wario's face.
Yep.
Just going. Wah.
When these things get rated by the ESRB, usually they come out pretty quickly, not super fast, not always, but it could be a matter of weeks. This feels like the kind of thing that like stealth drops or something like. I just don't expect like a big marketing push for something like this. This is especially if it's like maybe a Nintendo Switch Online edition, like the Tetris 99. Yeah,
it could be something. Could it show up like Summer Game Fest?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Nintendo has often many years had a June Nintendo Direct. Maybe if they're not planning a full Direct, that doesn't mean they won't have like some Twitter announcements around that time. Maybe they did elsewhere.
They put some stuff in Keeley's.
They have
stuff, right?
Well, they do Game of the Year. They've definitely done Game of the Year. Yes. So why wouldn't they do Summer Game Fest?
Yeah. Didn't they put like a Smash announcement in there once or something like that? Was Joker there, or was some? No, that was somewhere else. I think
that was probably Game of the Year as well.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh yeah, we'll make this announcement on Game Awards and Game say Awards, like, here it is, and like that's an easy. It makes sense as well because a lot of people are going to be watching Game Awards, and they're probably the people that are going to go, oh, I'm going to go buy this right now, and there it is. But instead of being like a big marketing push where you have to explain what this is to people, I feel like you don't want to get into the weeds of what this game is and explain that we once released the Nintendo Entertainment System, and these kids are just like, "Oh God, I'm playing Roblox. Get out of here."
Yep.
Yep.
We'll see. I think Summer Game Fest, just a drop out of nowhere. They are not beyond the possibility of just putting something on Twitter or YouTube and saying like, this is the game and it's coming now, and that's all we're saying about it. Either way, I'm getting my hopes up that this is something that's going to jive with me. Really, the ideal scenario, even beyond that TikTok WarioWare idea, is that the speedrun, like competitive mode, is very similar to Astro's Playroom, where it's just like small sections and it times you in that, and then it adds up all your times. So there's like a global leaderboard for all the levels, and there's not like a million of them, not like 75 levels, but like 12 levels. I'm like, okay, that like, so I can really like focus on that stuff. That would really be my jam, but we'll see. I hope we find out soon. Usually when Pyoro hears about something and teases it, we get the announcement really soon after. Maybe that was the ESRB thing leaking, and that's where that information came from, and we won't hear about anything for a while, but I still get the sense that we're going to find out about this pretty quickly.
Let's go.
All right. Resident Evil 9 could be released in January, it is claimed. This is from Jordan Midler at VGC. According to Dusk Golem on Twitter, who's a huge leaker of Capcom stuff, Resident Evil 9 should be revealed soon. And it's, Tam, why don't we go by cool aliases?
You know what? It's really funny to me when it's like, according to Space Cowboy, the reputable information has been this like really funny to me.
According to Yeti 420 Vegeta.
Yeah.
It is set for release in early 2025, that being Resident Evil 9. Dusk Golem has a strong track record of revealing confidential information about upcoming video games before they are made public, again, especially from Capcom. The possible delay I had heard murmurs about can be pushed aside, they said. Resident Evil 9 should be revealed pretty soon and released next year. If what I heard previously holds true, it should be in January. It'll have had about 7 years in development. Holy monkey. The Insider also claims that Resident Evil 9 started development in 2018 as a potential 8th entry in the main series. At this time, Resident Evil Village was seen as a spin-off project before eventually becoming the real 8th main entry. Okay.
I can tell you with absolute certainty, and I've not told anyone else this, but I can tell you that Capcom intends to make a Resident Evil game.
Okay. You heard it, people. Whoa. Oh, okay. I'm just going to keep rolling back to get my desk back there. Oh, shit. Okay. Listen, if you're going to drop bombs like that, shoosh.
I'm sorry.
Hey, this isn't.
Please credit that to Camera Cat Litter.
That's a good internet alias.
Yeah.
You're just looking at things that you could see.
Camera Cat Litter.
Okay, perfect. A new Resident Evil releasing early in the year is normal at this point. Like, that's where we are at. Resident Evil 9 has been in the works for a long time. The timing feels right, and if there is no delay, yeah, sure, I would expect something Resident Evil early next year, and why not 9?
Yeah, we are. I mean, like Capcom has comfortably carved out an area of the kind of like release calendar for themselves, to the point where it kind of like is people have started to become a bit aware of it, and they're like, well, let's just stay out of Capcom's way for this one. If not because like they release juggernauts, it's just like people have kind of built a habit of getting into the Capcom thing at that time. So it makes sense from a timing perspective, obviously. I am really, really fascinated with what this game is going to be if Village was the spin-off. I do wonder how much more mileage they have in the first-person perspective. I really, really love that perspective. If I was a betting man, but if I was not a betting man, but if I was in some sort of position of influence at Capcom, I would probably stop the first-person version for this next one.
Yeah.
I would be like, hey, you guys, you all made one of the best games ever with Resident Evil 2 Remake, right? Do that again with that same kind of style, the perspective, but do it for an original title. Don't do it as a remake, do it for a new entry in the franchise. New story, whatever, new characters. Yeah, I don't know, if you want to bring Leon back, whatever, do it. But like, let's move away from the first person, at least for now, and maybe think about doing like back and forth. Like every iteration is switching between them. I feel like the first person one is kind of like got less mileage on it than we perhaps expected to begin with.
I think so too, and also because, like, you know, Resident Evil always changes up stuff after a couple of entries, right? A few entries. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, then you get 4, and that's very different. And then 4, 5, 6, and 7's very different. I think, you know, 7 and 8, you would think, oh, well, 9 should be the same because they kind of do these things in 3s before, and obviously there's a lot of other Resident Evil games and spinoffs and all this stuff. But and generally they follow that pattern. But it takes a lot longer now for these games to come out than they used to. And so it's like we have been with first person for quite some time. It does. I think you're right that Resident Evil 9 feels like the right time to make that move, and don't wait until that one to then change it up after that. And it's like right now, Resident Evil 9 should feel very different. I think you're right.
Yeah. And it feels like, oh, if this has been in development for this long and it was originally meant to be the next mainline entry in the series, there is also a chance that it could be a first person game. Because I imagine, like, after Resident Evil 7, if they started work on the next entry, you would imagine the team would be like, oh, we're doing another first person one. Because it makes sense. This one just popped off. Yep. We do another first person one. But then, you know, Village comes along and takes a slot. I wonder if, like, it was like, oh, okay, we're also gonna, that's also a first person one while we work on this, move over, you know, use that in one. Or do they take the first person one they were working on and rework it into something completely new because they've had so long to do it? I'm really interested in seeing what that becomes. Obviously, I adore Resident Evil. So I'm just excited at the potential of getting one soon. And if we're getting one soon, that means surely they have to reveal it fairly soon as well. Maybe that's another Summer Game Fest joint.
Yeah, maybe.
Keely would lock that down pretty well.
You're right.
If it was out there, yeah.
Yeah, he would be very happy with that. And that's like the kind of thing where, you know, I wouldn't expect them to be like ready to like show that thing off to anybody or anything like that. Maybe, but they could announce it. And then, like, you know, that could be ready for Gamescom or something else, or Tokyo Game Show, things like that.
Yeah, I feel like just showing a trailer of some sort or a teaser is good, because Capcom, I think, like, these days they're a little more savvy and smart with how they present their games, especially in person from a media perspective. They're really good these days at like creating these small hands-on events, which is, you know, stuff that we go to all the time, but like they show a game and then you won't hear from it for a bit. And then from a press perspective, they'll just be like, hey, we're back. We got it playable. Do you want to come and check it out? So I wouldn't be surprised if they show the game here, maybe do their own Resident Evil direct style thing, which they have done in the past, and then have like a hands-on period before it was like, oh, it's out now.
Yeah. The other thing for this game is that the previous rumors, also from Dust Golem, I believe, were that Resident Evil 9 is going to be the one that is open world. More open, similar to, because they're treating it as part of a different sort of trilogy, like a development trilogy that started with Dragon's Dogma 2, which brought the Resident Evil engine, the RE engine, Reach for the Moon engine, into the open world, having to have capabilities to make an open world game. And they're going to build on that with Resident Evil 9. That's the rumor. And then there's another game, must be Monster Hunter Wilds, that is going to be part of that as well. Is it, like, let's say it's first person open world, you know, and that's like the big change. Is that enough of a shift for you, or is it like you kind of want some other stuff as well?
I think that's a pretty big shift. My initial thought is, oh god, no, please not an open world.
Yeah, a lot of people in chat
and like I think Dragon's Dogma 2 is a great game. I stopped playing it because it was more Dragon's Dogma, and I kind of found the open world to be exhausting after a little while. And it's quite emergent. It doesn't have loads of icons and stuff like that, but there's just some level of open world fatigue that I have.
Yep.
And I don't know if like it's got the same hooks as a Resident Evil would have the same hooks as a Dragon's Dogma, with the whole like big enemies jumping around, that kind of thing.
Yep.
That's not to say I don't think an open world Resident Evil can not work. I think it very much can work. And in fact, I would rather have it in that Resident Evil 2 kind of style perspective. Imagine an actual major city that has been like destroyed and is like overrun with zombies or ganados or whatever it may be. And you have that kind of almost From Software, like folding in on itself world design that you slowly kind of uncover as you get to know the city better and better. What I'm essentially saying here is, imagine if they did Dead Rising, but with the tone and kind of approach of Resident Evil instead. Because Dead Rising was really cool, right? It was the mall, but like scale it up to a bigger degree. I think it's really interesting. I don't think I would want to do that from a first-person perspective. I don't know if Capcom would want to do that, especially because it leaves them kind of in the same territory as what's that zombie game called? The first-person one. Damn.
What kind of game is it? Like a survival game?
It's that first-person parkour zombie game. God.
Yeah,
I forgot. Dead Island, is it?
There's Dead Island and then there's Dying Light. Dying Light.
I feel like it would leave them in that territory, which it's not like a packed genre, but I imagine they want to stick to their roots a bit more. I really, really, really like the idea of a large-scale open world city overrun with zombies or T-virus or whatever it may be, where you're playing from it plays like Resident Evil 2 Remake, and you have a figure like the Nemesis knocking around, and it's not like. And you imagine like you're just like across the city and suddenly like a fucking Nemesis appears and you're not just in a corridor anymore. You've got this massive world to try and escape. And also like he can potentially like lead you down dead ends and you have to figure this stuff out. I really like that idea. It also could be an opportunity if it's big enough to kind of take some of the poorly executed stuff that they keep coming back to in terms of multiplayer. They keep doing multiplayer experiences for Resident Evil. They pretty much always suck, but this could be an opportunity for them to look at them and go like,
Jill Valentine's fall into an island.
Oh my god, let's go. But like, I imagine if you like chuck a second person in there and you're like, oh, you can play this co-op.
Yeah.
And like you can, explore the city together, do these missions. It would be pretty cool. In my mind, I think that it could work. I hope it works. It's just a matter of what the execution is like. That's not to say if they did first person, I'd be like, this sucks. I'm always going to give them a shot. They've earned the kind of like the goodwill from us with multiple great Resident Evil games. But I would love for them to do like Resident Evil 2 remake, large scale, citywide open world. That would be sick. An open world to our mind is like huge. It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to be.
Like it can be like a
couple city blocks.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a very dense kind of like smaller area compared to like a Dragon's Dogma.
Yep. I mean, that stuff scale. I mean, it gets bigger and bigger very fast. You do, 6x6 grid of like city blocks. And honestly, that's, if you make that dense and make those buildings, something that you can go into and you populate those, that's a huge amount of territory to explore, especially once you start going vertically as well. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that is the ideal solution to what they're going for. If their mandate is to do something open, Resident Evil 2 homage, that works for me.
They have been kind of trending towards open world as well with Resident Evil. Like 7 was quite
open
linear.
Zones,
Yeah, 7 was linear, but 8 Village definitely had that open zone. They had that hub area that you kept coming back to. Well, not kept, but a few times enough to have that open world feel to it. So it definitely feels like they're trending in that direction.
Yep.
So I'm excited.
Me too, and I hope that we do see this.
What if in the open world you suddenly find there's like a velociraptor, and then imagine that you go like imagine an open world game that's Resident Evil on the box, but like is different. You go into the sewers and you're like, what the? They're just experimenting with dinosaurs down here.
What if that's the way to bring back Dino Crisis? You're right. It's like Resident Evil, like Dino Crisis. Like just do it. Like bring them together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then like you like go into the subway system and it's like, oh, it's Resident Evil on the train again. Let's go.
Resident Evil Zero's in this game.
Yeah.
All right. Rebecca, what's her name?
Oh, yeah. Rebecca, yeah, something like that.
All right. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, plenty more headlines to talk about, including From Software's continued plans for Elden Ring right after this. Wrong button. Sorry, everybody. I did it again. There it is. All right. We're back for real now. Here we go. From Software rules out more Elden Ring DLC, but leaves the door open for a sequel. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC.
Absolutely rookie behavior from Jeff Grubb.
I know. Listen, I told you I'm ready for the weekend. Buttons. I'm just... And it's like, it says right there, it says the word intro. I could just look at that. And I'm like, that's too much work to glance at the word in front of me. From Software is basically like, hey, this DLC is a lot. this is the beginning and the end of that process. But they left the door open for a sequel. In an interview with Chinese site Jihu, Miyazaki said the company has no plans for further DLC beyond the game's first expansion, Shadow of the Erd Tree, which will be released in June, and I keep forgetting about. He said the company would rather release one major expansion than split additional content into several parts, which would reduce the freedom of exploration and sense of adventure the game offers. That's sounds like really good.
That's my goal.
Yep, I mean, that's ideal, right? We want like one big return to the game is so much better than like, oh, I guess I'll go search for this motorcycle they added or whatever. And then of course, leaving the door open for a sequel is maybe the most of course, like. There's no world in which we don't get an Elden Ring 2, I think. I suppose there is a world where maybe there
is very much. If any company is going to be like, no, it's going to be them.
That's I'm like just like kind of realizing that. But it is also a slam dunk where when Elden Ring 2 comes out, it will be massive, just the hugest launch ever for something not called Grand Theft Auto. And so, yeah, I feel like it's the kind of thing that's going to happen. And I think it's right to be like, hey, here's the DLC. This is a reason to return to Elden Ring. We really love this experience, but we're glad you did too. Let's give it a really awesome send-off, and then go quiet for several years and work on whatever they're going to work on. And when they come back and probably announce Elden Ring 2, I think like, yeah, I'm ready for it. That sounds good to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in terms of what they're doing here, first of all, to address that, I think this is the right approach. Particularly what he said about impacting the sense of freedom. If you like truncate or even like turn the DLC into chapters, it would severely impact how that feels. I imagine like you would only be able to have like a at most like a 10-hour per DLC experience, which that's not what you want from that kind of game, especially if you want a big meaty loss that exactly. And that it feels like the Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC is significant enough that it's significant, and it feels like it's significant enough that I'm now worried that it's coming out around Summer Game Fest. And I'm like, oh god, what is happening? But I feel like that's the correct move, and I appreciate that. They do that. Traditionally, Dark Souls games have had multiple DLCs. Dark Souls 1 is perhaps the only one that only had one. I think the Artorias stuff was pretty much it. 2 had a bunch, and then 3 had a bunch, ending in the Ring C, I believe. And then Bloodborne is one that had just one. So they are familiar with just doing one and dones, and the one and dones are always my favorite ones, like Artorias and the Old Hunters are incredible. So this feels like they're going to stick to it and be like, all right, we're done. Move on from this. In terms of the future of Elden Ring, so initially, I don't know if people remember, but they were like, we're not going to do another Dark Souls. We're probably good with this. But Namco Bandai had a few things to say about that. So Namco Bandai is very good at getting what they want out of From Software, or they have a history of like, making it sweet enough of a deal for them that they do it. So we got 3 Dark Souls games out of it, and this is obviously another Bandai Namco published title. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's another Elden Ring game. I wouldn't say I want that. I feel like Elden Ring more than anything. Like, it's going to sound really offensive, and I just want people to know that I absolutely want it to be offensive. But no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But like, the transition from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom was significantly less interesting to me. Like, I feel like once we went back to that world, it had lost pretty much all of its luster. I appreciated the kind of like jamming stuff together to make new things happen. I appreciated the depths, which was fine, and the stuff in the sky, but it all felt like retreading old ground and desperately trying to figure out how they can, make that work again.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be the same thing in Elden Ring. That's not to say they would use like the Lands Between over and over again, but it just feels like retreading old ground in a way that they don't need to do that. And it's much harder to do that. If you look at Dark Souls 1 to 3, like technically they take place in the same world, right? Like built on top of each other. They look very, very different. So I guess they could do that, but I would rather they just like created a brand new thing, you know, for people to get obsessed about. Especially if they're gonna make games on this scale going forward. That's the other big question. Like, is From Software going to step back into more like controlled or reined in kind of scale, or are they stuck being the open world team now?
Yeah.
Which is like, once you let that genie out of the bottle, that's what everyone wants. I'm personally of the mind that if they want to go back to more linear experiences, I would love that. I'd be happy with that.
I hope they get a chance to do that. Definitely. And I'm not even going to say as well. I hope they get a chance to do that on whatever terms they can do that. I hope that if that's what they want to make, I hope that's just what they do.
Yeah, I don't really want them being forced into making nothing but open world games now. But I think we're more likely to see another open world game that is completely new IP. And I think Bandai Namco is smart enough to know that if they come along and are like, we've got another idea, they let them run with that.
Yeah, and it would still have all that hype involved with it. It would.
You just put from the creators of Elden Ring on everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it would work. It's just so easy to imagine, like, everyone internally just being like, well, Elden Ring 2 would fucking pop off, and so they wouldn't be able to help themselves.
Pop off even harder? Open world, Bloodborne 2.
Yeah, well,
take everything you've learned from Elden Ring and make a massive Bloodborne game. Imagine that shit. That would be
I think people have imagined it, except for the people responsible for making the game.
Yeah, they're like, hell no.
Get out of here.
No.
All right. Well, hey, at the very least, every time I'm reminded of Shadow of the Erdtree, it's like, boy, that is going to rule. I cannot wait to go back to Elden Ring. And honestly, but maybe by the time we're done with this DLC, I bet most people are going to be like with your take of, oh yeah, take what you learned here and apply it to something different or new, and we'll be completely fine with that.
You know what they're going to make? Mark my words. Like, they finally have reached a point where they can make their own Smash Brothers.
Okay, yeah, now that would be fantastic.
Imagine
I would love to see that.
They've got enough characters now that you can make a Smash.
Just hires Sakurai for a couple of months. Yeah,
he's like, I need Vike to do like wave dashing. I want Artorias in here, his fucking sword character again, annoying as shit. We got Aldrich like Kirby eating everything,
and 10 Fire Emblem characters for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, still.
Tetris is partnering with 7-Eleven to release a handheld. This is from Jordan Midler at VGC. American convenience store chain 7-Eleven is partnering with Tetris on a line of merchandise, including a handheld. The line, which includes t-shirts, hats, and more apparel with Tetris and 7-Eleven branding, is out now for customers in the United States. It's currently unknown if the line will be available in Japan and another region with a large number of 7-Eleven stores. This handheld, okay, yeah, I'll just read this. Featuring an officially licensed Tetris title, this portable Slurpee plus Tetris handheld game device lets you play the classic game on a go with a full-color 1.8-inch screen that brings the iconic shapes and colors to life. So it's like a Tetris game built into the side of a Slurpee cup, and it looks absurd. And I'm
sure that will function perfectly for all eternity.
I don't see any flaws in the design here, damn. This is just good engineering, solid engineering.
Famously, like electrical, equipment and like
they love this
boards
stuff.
Go very well when they're directly next to liquid.
Yeah, they love, and especially the Slurpee liquid. That's a better conductor right there.
Can you actually drink from this thing, or does it just look like it?
I think you can drink from this thing. It's not.
If you can't drink from this thing, throw that shit in the bin. Like, who wants that?
I hope you could drink from it. I think you probably can. Let me. I gotta come clean. I ordered some of these Tetris 7-Eleven shirts.
Oh, you cannot drink from it. It looks like you cannot drink from it.
You can't? Okay, what the hell's the point?
This sucks.
Yeah, game device. So it just says the word Slurpee on it? Okay, well, that kind of sounds stupid. I like that too. I ordered some of these 7-Eleven shirts that just say Tetris on them. It's like, it's mostly Tetris, and then it'll just say shit like 7-Eleven, and there's one that like is Tetris, and then I think Speedway bought 7-Eleven or vice versa, and there's one that just says Tetris, and then Speedway at the bottom, and I got that because it's dumb as hell, and I can't wait to wear it.
Jeff, I think we should get one of these, and then do a video where we like pull this out on public transport.
Okay.
And see what the reactions are.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. That would be really funny. I think.
Yeah, we could do that in LA. There. Here's some of these shirts. Let me see if hello, friend.
Hello, friend.
Hello, friend. This one right here, but it's the one that says Speedway instead. I wonder if
$30?
okay, look.
This is $30?
Well, some of them are 25. The
this,
handheld thing is $30. Yes,
that is disgusting behavior from 7-Eleven.
I should get that as well. Okay, yeah, here it is. Here's the handheld. It says coming soon. Oh yeah, look at that. I guess it does look like something that would not be able to take a Slurpee. Okay.
Yeah.
It does say fully playable, and the top glows in the colors of Slurpee. RGB.
I just don't know why I never thought about the fact that 7-Eleven would have their own merchandise store. And I don't know if I love this or if I hate this. I'm looking at a 7-Eleven embroidered crew neck right now, and I'm like, it's kind of nice. I kind of want that.
I'm like, this is dumb, but I bet they're going to be comfy, and they kind of look
it
high
is
quality.
$65, yeah, though. But like,
Yeah.
I really want to support a corporation. Is 7-Eleven okay, other than the fact that they're a crazy
I have no idea.
Are they like secretly funding
mechanics jacket?
Mad shit? Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Oh, and there's like knitted polo. That looks really good too. What the hell?
Oh, man. Well, I think this Tetris stuff the Tetris stuff is absolutely hideous. Like, it is disgusting.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. Like, it is gaudy. It's tacky. Well, look, there's a word I'm looking for, and I like it because of that.
Yeah,
like this one. Yeah, it just says stacking and snacking. 7-Eleven plus Tetris, and then there's Tetris pizzas, a piece of pizza, an energy drink, a hot dog, and a big gulp. And yes, I bought this shirt.
Do I want this crew neck? I kind of want this crew neck that says Tetris, Tetris, Speedway.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yes. That's Tetris, Speedway. And it's like Speedway gas stations. Like, who has an affinity for Speedway gas stations? I kind of do, but I'm a fucking weirdo. So yeah, I got this sweater. I'm going to wear it.
I kind of want this, like, I kind of want to get this stuff and then just walk into a 7-Eleven wearing it and just stand in a corner and see if I'll get shouted out by the manager to be
wait for someone to come talk to
you. Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Yep. That's that. That exists. $30 for that handheld. Get it if you want. I don't care. I'm not your dad.
How many have you ordered? Tell the truth.
I did not. You can't order the handheld yet.
Okay.
I did order 3 shirts.
I love how they advertise the handheld, and you went to the website to order the handheld, couldn't buy the handheld, so you bought 3 shirts instead. It's just the most, like, every bit of advertising works on Jeff Grubb.
Oh, I'm so susceptible. I am just making.
You can't go anywhere with him. He stops at every billboard and
every
engages
roadside.
with the activity.
Every billboard. Like, oh, look at this. I need a lawyer.
I'm definitely going to get that lawyer.
All right, Maximilian Dude commissions cel-shaded mod for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. This is from Jordan Midler at VGC. The quick version of this is Maximilian Dude is cool and was like, hey, I have some money. Let's put up a bounty basically to be like, hey, can someone make this, make Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, a game that a lot of people really like playing and a lot of people really hate looking at. What if we made it fun to look at? And that's what this mod's doing. Have you seen the results of this? It's really impressive.
I have been following this for a while. I would like to, from the bottom of my heart, as a representative, one of the many, many, many representatives of the fighting game community, a fan of it, and a representative of the Marvel vs. Capcom fandom, I would like to personally extend my thanks to Maximilian Dude for doing this. It is a pretty amazing thing to do. And it is like, I've met Max maybe one time, actually spoken to him, but I've seen him a bunch. I don't really bother him because he looks very busy. And I've always respected his fandom, his love of fighting games, especially MVC. And the fact that he's willing to put his money where his mouth is and like figure this stuff out and do something with this game that I actually really liked. I gave it a pretty positive review when it came out. I really enjoyed playing it. I think I said it looks like straight booty cheeks, and the presentation is incredibly disappointing. And I've been keeping an eye on this kind of conversion and the effort going into it, and it looks so nice, but also it is a gargantuan effort. Like, I've been watching the people working, the dude, I don't know who it is, sorry. I don't mean to assume. I was watching them do it, and people are asking questions like, does this like kind of wrapper that you've put around it, the work that you've done to this character, carry over to other like palette swaps of the character, like if you switch costume. And they were like, nope, got to do it for every
Holy
single
smokes, that
version of
stinks.
this. That is wild. That's to say, like, the dedication and commitment going into this is significant. So
Right.
I truly respect that this person is doing it, and I also like respect that Max is out there being like, I want people to like this game. I want people to give it another shot, and make it happen. There's another team that's working on a Marvel versus Capcom 3 mod, and it is like a complete. It's got new characters in there. It's got like Gambit in there, and they're like creating new characters for it, and it is wild. I'm trying to remember what it was called.
Yeah, I've seen people talk about this, but I don't know what the effort's called.
Let me find it. Okay, I'll find it quickly.
For Infinite, it's like, yeah, this is like going to breathe a whole new amount of life into it, and I'm very excited about that. It's also, people are like, when they think of Infinite, they think of the X-Men not being involved, but when people play that game, they really like it. They really shut out. And like, Maximilian Dude could be spending his money on Cybertrucks and some bullshit, and he
could have like fucking Prime Water or whatever it is, like, or some gross, fucking cash in.
Right. And that's not what he's like. No, I want the cool things. I like to be cooler.
Yeah.
That rules.
Yeah. I think it's just called Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, honestly, and they're just building on top of that. But yeah, it's got new characters in there, new movesets. It's really, really cool. So I'm really glad that the community is coming together to keep these games alive, because Capcom hasn't shown much of an interest in it.
Yep. The fantastic work. I hope this is able to be seen through, and I will.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if you saw if there was any way to like. I assume like Maximilian kind of bankrolling it means that they're not really taking like Patreon money or anything like that. But I would keep an eye on it. Is it Wistful Hopes?
Wistful Hopes, yes. Wistful Hopes
on Twitter. Give them a follow. And like keep an eye on them. Oh, her. Okay, cool. Give her a follow. Keep an eye on the work that she's doing. Hopefully, like she'll make it clear, or they'll make it clear whether they need like funding or anything like that. Because I would, in a heartbeat, contribute to this. I love to see this.
Final story here. Good job, developer Paladin Studios has closed its doors. This is from Nintendo Everything. Paladin Studios, the development company perhaps best known for its work on Good Job, a Nintendo Switch release that Nintendo published, has closed its doors for good. The news was shared on its official website. Co-founder and co-CEO Derek Degue said that the studio unfortunately failed to land enough work to cover our burn rate. In order to avoid the insolvency and debt while giving employees proper severance, the decision was made to shut down the company. A Good Job is like a cool little puzzle-solving like workplace sim game that I thought was quite well done. Really enjoyed it. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, hey, that's a quality studio making quality games. It's a studio that's been around for 20 years now. They have experience. And then they are in a world where, hey, okay, well, we have work. Now we just need the hire part. Do you want to hire us to do work? And there's not enough work out there for them right now. And so they have to close down. And it's just like, that is where we're at in this industry. And this is illustration of that number, 5 million at this point. And it's a real shame. I also get a little frustrated by this, Tam, because it's the kind of thing where Nintendo hires out these studios to make games for them. Nintendo publishes them as first-party games, and then once these studios are sort of like swaying in the wind and kind of on their own, Nintendo's nowhere to be heard from. They don't pick up the phone and say, well, we got something for you, or hey, come on board, or acquire them, or any number of things that they could do to help these companies that have made first-party games for them. Nintendo's just like, good luck. And like, you could say, okay, good job. That's one game. You should be able to hire them. Yeah, but they do that with like Alpha Dream that made several Mario and Luigi RPGs for them. And then once that studio put out a Mario and Luigi RPG remake on the 3DS after the 3DS stopped selling, and so the company was screwed after that, Nintendo was nowhere to be heard from. And I'm kind of disappointed in that behavior. I think it's bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yep.
I mean, it's always like capitalism is capitalism, man. Like, yep. I don't know what you can say to that, like, but no one is exempt from the influence of capitalism in any way possible. Like, they should do right by these studios, but costs money, and ultimately money makes the world go round.
A very conservative company that doesn't like spending money. Yep, big surprise.
No. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's still like another extent, like Retro, for example. They're not an internal studio, are they? Like Retro made multiple games for them that are very well received. You'd think most people would think, "What that studio is going to get acquired after they make one amazing Metroid game, right?"
I think Retro might be I can't remember, but like
I don't think so.
Yeah, definitely like Intelligent Systems, which has made games for them for decades. I don't think they're owned. I think HAL Laboratories is still like maybe has a minor stake in there, but I think they're still a separate company. So yeah, these things, this is a normal thing for them.
It says it's a subsidiary of Nintendo based in Austin, Texas.
Okay, so maybe they are.
I did not know they like
right. But you're right. That's the weird one out because they actually did make them a subsidiary. They don't do that with a lot of their studios that they partner with. Yeah.
But yeah, they work with so many third-party studios to make games that are usually pretty well received, and then just dispose of them. You know, and it's like, okay, you should probably help those studios when they're struggling.
You kept talking about you wanted to hire like more studios to make more games. You're looking for studios to make more games. This is something you said in an earnings call a little bit ago. Good job, was super solid. Get that studio back, have them work on something else. You have a million franchises just sitting around. Even the ones that aren't sitting around, you could do more with them. I don't know. At a certain point, I don't get why these things have to go the way they go. All right. Poll question from yesterday. Let's get that up so everybody can have a chance to see the results. Do you want to return to Starfield? 17% said no. I'm never going to play Starfield again. Then 19% said yes, the updates have me curious. Then 20% said no, but maybe after a few more updates. And then the biggest response was 43% who says, I've never played Starfield. So, that's not, I think, between, 39% saying either I'm curious now or I will be more curious after a few more updates. I think it's a pretty okay place for Starfield to be. I think they would prefer these numbers to be a lot stronger, though, of course.
I just currently have no interest in that game.
I think obviously a lot of people are with you.
You can put some quality of life things. I think there's like fundamental design choices that are too significant to like easily update a way that like I just did not enjoy the exploration in that game.
Yep, they're talking about a dune buggy. I might, if people say that's like really changes everything, maybe I'll go back, but I don't know.
That's it, because every time I landed on a planet, I was like, there's nothing here.
Yep, like, and if it's 5 minutes away, and what is the point of walking over there? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they'll get it to a point where it is like
maybe
much better, and I'll keep an eye out for that. But currently, I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm good.
Yep, and I think the 17% say no, I'm never playing that game again. Yeah, I get it. I understand why some people feel that way. I am definitely, as I voted here, no, but maybe after a few more updates, I'm always like willing to give it a chance if they do make some significant changes.
And put a bow and arrow in there. Let me crouch and get extra stealth shots in.
Ooh, that sounds good. Maybe a little bit.
Now
magic.
we're talking.
All right, I got a new poll question. We'll get to that in a second. In the meantime, Tam, why don't you tell people what you have going on, what we have going on, all that good stuff.
So on the Giant Bomb side, we have UPF coming up at 10 a.m. There is currently a discussion happening about whether we're going to do Fork Knife Star Wars Edition or play a different game. I'm sure that will be resolved fairly soon.
It'll be Star Wars something.
Yeah, probably. And then we have a Spot On is up now. Me and Lucy talked about, what did we talk about? Batman. We talked about Batman returning to video games and what we see in the future of that character, and also maybe the studio behind a lot of the beloved games. And then that's it for today, right?
Yep, I think so. Well, there's Power Bombcast. Did you mention that?
Oh yeah, Power Bombcast. Yeah, Power Bombcast. And then next week we start all over again. We already have announced the LA events.
Yeah, tickets go on sale today for everybody. If you if they haven't gone on sale yet, which I honestly don't know what time that will happen. Maybe it did already happen. But if you're like looking, you could always go track down the information for the VIP tickets. I think for people who are premium members, I'm not sure exactly how it works. The details are on the site and they're in the Discord. Either way, though, if you're interested in tickets, they go on sale today. It's at the Bellwether. If you Google Giant Bomb, GB at night at the Bellwether, you'll get the tickets website, so you'll be able to track that down. But get your tickets. It's going to be right away.
We'd love to see you there. Obviously, like this is not something we do a lot, and for us to continue to do it, we have to kind of this is something that we have pushed for, and amid some skepticism.
Yeah, now we
so
need
when we
results.
did it the first time, the people were like, "Okay, you did it. Let's see if this is a thing that's sustainable." And now it's out there again. So for us to continue doing this kind of thing, it needs to like be supported. So we'd love it if you can come. Obviously, not everyone's in
No,
a
of course
position to
not.
come, so we're not going to be like, "You guys suck." We're not that kind of like. People
No,
should
we
know
get
us
it.
well enough to know that we're not going to be shitty about things. But if you are in a position to, we'd love to see you there, and we can hang out and around Summer Game Fest and shoot the shit, have some fun.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where even when it's like skepticism externally from our team, internally it's a lot of work, and it's stressful to like get all this stuff, all these cats herded and things like that. And at the end of the day, it's worth it because we show up and everyone else shows up. But yeah, I want it to stay that way, and I kind of want it to grow and all that stuff, and we're gonna do our best. So look out for it. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, like transparently, we just want to make live shows more of a thing for us. Like we want to get out to the East Coast and different parts of the country so that
God,
but it's just it will be so good. Like we know there's people who love the site who are in just remote locations like that where they can't afford to buy a plane ticket to LA to watch a live show. It's expensive, and sadly the only way to like broaden our horizons and cast a wider net is to make these ones a success, so we can eventually go like, hey, let's go to Boston, let's go here, there, and everywhere.
Let's go back to Fargo.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Poll question. New one. Which Tetris / 7-Eleven shirt should I get? It's a visual poll. It's an image poll. The first one is the Tetris where a 7-Eleven piece is falling down amongst a bunch of Tetris pieces. The other one is that one I described earlier where the Tetris pieces are shooting past the words 7-Eleven / Tetris, and there's a pizza slice and a hot dog. And then option 3 is Tetris Speedway. Spoiler warning, I bought all 3. But you can vote now, I guess. If I had to pick one, it would be Tetris Speedway. All right. We'll get the results of that and talk about it on Game Best Mornings on Monday on Giant Bomb. Once again, speaking of Giant Bomb, stick around later today. We will have that UPF, whatever we're going to end up doing on there. Honestly, I haven't looked at Slack, so who knows what they're talking about. I'm down for whatever. And then Power Bombcast later today. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Tam, thank you so much for spending today talking with me about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I love doing this.
Me too, man. Love having you.
Everyone stick around because I'm going to try and get Jeff to show everyone some LeBron James-based memes.
All right, let's get to that. Thanks for watching. You're the best audience of gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.